So, what if I told you there's a permanent fix for a rotting deck that costs like $15? Seriously, a simple 3-ingredient formula that people knew about for centuries. We're talking Vikings, master carpenters, you name it, but then it just seemingly got erased from history? Okay, let's get into this.
This one quote, right here, it basically sums up the whole story. It frames this whole thing not as some handy DIY tip, but as a deliberate act of forgetting. You know, driven by a pretty powerful economic motive. The argument is that this knowledge wasn't just lost, it was buried on purpose. So that brings us right to our first section. We're going to dig into that central claim. Why would a proven, timeless solution for protecting wood just vanish from the modern world? It's a pretty wild question when you think about it, right? If something works that well and for that long, you'd think it would be everywhere. But it's not. You won't see it advertised at your local hardware store. Most contractors have probably never even heard of it. So what gives?
Well, the answer presented here is simple, and it's all about money. You just can't build a multi-billion-dollar industry on a permanent solution. No, you build it on products that are designed to fail, making absolutely sure that customers have to come back and buy more again and again. And the numbers, they're just staggering. In the United States alone, the wood stain market hauls in $2.4 billion a year. That is one heck of an incentive to keep people buying products that just don't last. And if we zoom out, globally, the entire wood coating industry is worth over $11 billion every year. The thinking is that the very foundation of that empire is built on stuff that's designed to crack and peel and fail, forcing you right back to the store every couple of years. But way before this industry even existed, there was a solution that didn't fail. So in this next part, we're going to see how some ancient wisdom actually helped build civilizations and protected wood for thousands of years. The big secret ingredient is linseed oil. It's just a natural oil pressed from flax seeds, not some modern chemical concoction. And the science behind it is actually pretty cool. When it's exposed to the air, it does this thing called polymerization. Basically, it turns from a liquid into a solid protective shield inside the wood itself. And look, this is not some new fad. This is ancient tech. The Vikings, they used it on their longships to cross the Atlantic. There are Norwegian churches built around 1170 AD that are still standing today because they were protected by it. It was used on temples in Japan. It was even the standard finish on early American farmhouses. I mean, this stuff has a serious track record. Okay, so we've seen the history, which is amazing. But how does this ancient method actually stack up against the modern products you find on the shelf today? Let's dive into the science of it all.
Okay, here is the fundamental difference. The linseed oil formula soaks deep into the wood fibers. It becomes part of the wood. Commercial sealants, they just sit on top, like a thin layer of plastic. So what happens when water gets underneath and freezes? That plastic film cracks and peels right off. The linseed oil formula doesn't, because it's in the wood, not just on it.
And if you want proof of performance, well, here it is. Swedish field tests on pine showed that wood treated with the linseed oil formula had absolutely zero rot after 24 years in the ground. The exact same type of wood treated with a commercial sealant, it started decomposing in just 3 years. I mean, the difference is just undeniable.
All right, so you've seen the why, the how, and the history. Now for the part I know you've been waiting for, this simple, super affordable formula itself.
It really is this simple. It's just equal parts of 3 things you can find at pretty much any hardware and grocery store. Boiled linseed oil, pure gum turpentine, and plain old white distilled vinegar. That's the whole thing. And the process is just as straightforward. You just clean and prep the surface, brush on a coat, let the wood soak it up for about 20 minutes, wipe off any extra, and then let it cure. No power sanders, no complicated equipment needed. You can totally do this on a Saturday morning.
Okay, before we go any further, we have to stop and cover something that is incredibly important. This next part is absolutely non-negotiable for anyone even thinking about using this method. So please pay close attention.
And I'm not exaggerating here. The one major risk with using linseed oil is very real, but, and this is the important part, it is 100% preventable if you know what you're doing.
Remember that whole polymerization thing we talked about? As the oil cures and hardens, it actually releases heat. Now, on a big flat surface like your deck, that heat just dissipates, no problem. But if it's on a crumpled rag you've thrown in the trash, that heat gets trapped, it builds up, and it can literally cause the rag to catch fire all on its own. And this isn't some freak accident.
Over 14,000 fires are caused every single year in the US from the spontaneous combustion of oily rags. The danger is absolutely real.
But preventing it is so simple. As you can see, you've got two safe options. Either lay the rags out completely flat on a concrete surface outside so they can dry in the open air, or just submerge them entirely in a bucket of water. What you never, ever do is ball them up and toss them in the trash.
Okay, so with that critical warning understood, let's circle back to the why. For a pretty standard-sized deck, you're looking at maybe $25 in materials for this formula versus thousands for a professional refinishing or even tens of thousands for a full replacement. The savings are just astronomical. And ultimately, the argument here is that this is about way more than just your deck or your wallet. It's about reclaiming a piece of practical, timeless knowledge that was almost completely lost. It's like a small act of independence in a world full of products that are built to fail.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a solution this effective for something as common as a wooden deck was just pushed aside, what other simple, powerful pieces of wisdom might be out there just waiting for us to rediscover them?
If you find this video helpful, please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Help us grow this channel by sharing with your friends who might need this hack. Thanks for watching.